Happy day students. Welcome to San Academy Pallikaranai Class 8 Science Chapter 2 Microorganisms Friend and Foe Part 2. Microorganisms have an impact on our everyday life. While some are useful, some others are harmful. And we are going to learn about few of the useful microorganisms and how they are used in various industries in this session. As it goes, microorganisms play an important role in our lives. Some of them are beneficial in many ways, whereas some others are harmful and cause diseases. Useful microorganisms. Microorganisms are used in food and beverage industries, in making medicines and vaccines, in agriculture, in cleaning the environment. Let us discuss about how microorganisms are used in food and beverage industries. First, bacteria help us in making certain foods. Lactobacillus is a bacterium that stores milk and is used to make curd from milk. Cheese is also made by the action of bacteria on milk. Vinegar is produced by the action of bacteria. Bacteria are also used in the production of tea, coffee, and cocoa. Making curd and cheese. Bacteria is used in preparation of some of our most common food, such as curd. Curd contains a bacterium called lactobacillus. When a little curd is added to milk, it multiplies and converts the milk into curd. And curd or dahi is known as plain yogurt in many countries. It also is available in many flavors such as fruit and chocolate. Industrially also, yogurt is prepared by adding lactobacillus bacteria into milk. The production of cheese also starts by curdling of milk using lactobacillus bacteria. Different bacteria are then added depending on the type of cheese being made. Making of bread. Yeast plays an important role in preparation of food. You may be familiar with when your mother is preparing a dough for naan or rumali roti. After the setting period, you would have observed that the dough has raised. And this happens because the yeast uses the sugar for food, which is being added in the dough. In the process of breaking down of sugar, alcohol is formed and carbon dioxide is given off. This process is known as fermentation. The bubbles of carbon dioxide given off causes the dough to rise. This dough can be used to make bread. When this dough is baked, more bubbles of gas are formed due to the heat. As the gas escapes, the bread rises and becomes soft and fluffy. The heat during the baking process also evaporates the alcohol. Microorganisms are also used in making of idli, dosa and dokla batters. Idli and dosa are prepared from a mixture of dal and rice, which has been ground to fine paste. The mixture is allowed to stand for a few hours. As fermentation occurs naturally due to bacteria present in the mixture rises and becomes sour. Dokla, a popular food item in Gujarat, requires yeast to be added to its mixture to make it soft and fluffy. In this case, fermentation may not take place naturally. Microbes are also used in manufacturing alcohol and alcoholic drinks. Alcoholic drinks like beer and wine. You have seen that during fermentation of sugar by yeast, alcohol is produced as a result. The process of fermentation of sugar by yeast is used in the manufacture of alcohol and alcoholic drinks such as beer and wine. One of the main difference between wine and beer production is the source of the sugar. Wine is prepared by fermentation of sugar in grapes and beer by fermentation of sugar in germinating barleys. Apart from this, we have few other uses of microorganism in food industries. Some seaweeds such as kelp are used as food in many countries such as China and Japan. Kelp is a rich source of potassium and iodine. A substance called algin obtained from algae is used to thicken food such as ice creams and jelly. And the process of fermentation was first discovered by Louis Pasteur in 1857. Now let us discuss about how microorganisms are used in making medicines, exclusively antibiotics and vaccines. Generally, bacteria and fungi are used to make medicines called antibiotics. These medicines kill or stop the growth of disease-causing microorganisms and hence are used to cure diseases. Penicillin comes from a species of mold called Penicillium. Streptomycin, tetracycline, and erythromycin are some other common antibiotics made from bacteria or fungi. Antibiotics are also used to control some disease of animals and plants. And it is important to remember that antibiotics should be taken only on the advice of qualified doctor. Also, you must complete the course prescribed by the doctor. If you take antibiotics when not needed or in wrong dosage, it may the drug less effective when you might need it in future. Also, antibiotics taken unnecessarily may kill the beneficial bacteria in the body. Antibiotics, however, are not effective against cold and flu as these are caused by virus. It was in 1929 Alexander Fleming was working on a culture of disease causing bacteria. Suddenly he found that spores of a little green mold in one of his culture plate. He observed that the presence of the mold prevented the growth of bacteria. In fact, it also killed many of these bacteria, and from this, the mold penicillin was prepared, and from which we got the antibiotic penicillin. Now let us discuss about how microorganisms are used to make vaccines. Vaccines protect human and other animals from several diseases. Diseases such as cholera, typhoid, tuberculosis, hepatitis, chickenpox, measles, polio, and smallpox. These diseases can be prevented by vaccination. Vaccination is a process through which vaccines are being administered to the human, animals, etc. Vaccines generally consist of dead or weakened microbes. When these are swallowed or injected into the body of a patient, the body produces antibodies to fight them, and the antibodies remain in the body and protect it from any future attack of the disease germs. The body is then said to have developed immunity against that disease. Vaccination is therefore also called as immunization. Bacteria and yeast are used in making vitamin B complex tablets, and the human hormone called insulin can also be obtained from bacteria. Insulin obtained from bacteria is used to help diabetic patients whose bodies produce little or no insulin. It was Edward Jenner who discovered the vaccine for smallpox in 1798, and these vaccines can be given in the form of injections or even in the form of oral medicine. Generally, now and then you see a awareness program or information regarding the a time and the venue and the place where the polio drops are being given, and these polio drops are nothing but actually a vaccine. Now, let us discuss about microorganism and soil fertility. There are some bacteria like rhizobium which lives in the nodules of plants, that is root nodules of plants such as gram, green pea and bean. These bacteria absorb the nitrogen of the atmosphere and convert it into nitrates which serve as natural fertilizer for plants. And some bacteria and blue-green algae are also able to fix nitrogen from the atmosphere to enrich the soil with nitrogen and increase its fertility. As I told you, by converting the atmospheric nitrogen into nitrates so that they can be easily soluble in water, and through the water they can enter into the plants, and hence these microbes are commonly called as biological nitrogen fixers. Microorganisms and environment. Microorganism also plays an important role in cleaning the environment. Microbes such as bacteria, fungi and protozoa help by decomposing the tissues of dead organisms to get their food. Without bacteria, piles of dead organisms would cover the earth. When microorganisms decompose organic matter, they break down plant and animal tissue into simple substance, which are restored to the soil. Thus, the nutrients that were taken from the soil by plants and animals are restored and are used again by the living organisms. Some bacteria decompose sewage and other waste in water. This is the nature's method of keeping